I want to make sure that you are absolutely happy with your decision.
No regrets.
Why are you saying it like that?
Me?
Yeah, it sounded mad disrespectful.
It's the audacity for me. It's the audacity. I really don't want to say anything negative because I do not know Mike, but I felt he was the one who was disrespectful. He was. Because unless there are other words that Sarah said that were removed from the clip, all she said, are you sure about your decision? And that is something that has been asked to many participants in any event that decide to withdraw, be it in a job, be it in a marriage, be it in a friendship. You're always asked, are you sure about your decision? Are you sure you won't regret this choice that you're making? And so for Mike to feel the need to call out Sarah doesn't make sense. And I have to give it to Sarah because she remained the professional that she is. She's an actress. So she was able to hide how she truly felt and nobody could tell. But the way she was saying his name sarcastically was just out of this world. And all the other islanders were embarrassed for him, the second-hand embarrassment. And the fact that the person he was defending didn't feel the need to say to him, just apologize, and he didn't feel the need to apologize, is shocking for me. For Leo to have to step up and apologize on his behalf to Sarah, make it make sense. Make it make sense. And these Casa boys are getting on my nerves. When is it time for us to vote them out? When is it time? All three of them are just a waste of space, but hey, it is what it is. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's your girl Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, leave a comment, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely subscribe. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Island USA, Season 5, Episode 29, and Scottisha's in the building. I don't even know where to start. Anyway, Sarah announces that Keenan is going home. Am I shocked that KK stood up to say she was going home? No. I think KK is so attached to the idea of the man that Keenan is, or to the sides of Keenan that we as viewers didn't get to see. Because if it's the sides that we as viewers saw, I personally don't think he's the man for her. I don't think he's the man for her because he has not done, as I said before, anything to prove that he loves her or that he cares for her. The facial expression he made when she said she was coming with him, because initially he said, no, don't come. And then when she insisted that she wanted to come with him, you could tell, I don't think he was happy for her to come with him. I think for him, this was always going to be a villa relationship that would end as soon as the show ends. And I don't think he meant for it to go outside of the villa. And now the idea that KK has stood up for him and she says she's living with him is something that was scaring him because he realized that he wasn't going to be able to sort of detach himself from this relationship as much as he hoped he would. That's the impression that I'm getting. I want to believe that he genuinely has feelings for her, but I don't know. I don't think so. Anyway, then Sarah asks, she's within her rights. In every show when somebody quits, they always ask, are you sure you're making the right decision? At least she didn't go on to say, are you sure you won't regret this decision? She just asked her, are you happy with your decision? And so for Mike to then chip in that that's disrespectful, which part of that sentence was disrespectful? I don't get it. Which part of it? Are you sure you're making the right decision or what? At the end of the day, at times people need just someone to ask them for them to stop and think, because you could tell everyone by the fire pit was thinking the same thing. Everyone. And the majority of the population that watched this show were wondering, are you sure you're making the right decision? Because she more or less quit the show to go with Keenan. That's what she did. As her declaration of love, because she already said she loved him. Anyway, I don't get where Mike was coming from. And I think the least he should have done should have been to apologize to Sarah. Unless he apologized and we didn't get to see it. And Sarah, being the actress that she did, she continued to appear unfazed. But the way she was saying his name, you could tell there was a bit of sarcasm behind it. Anyway, she then announced the first girl safe, who was Taylor S, and Bergie was relieved. I think if they had said Taylor S was going home, Bergie was going to leave. So Taylor S is safe and Bergie sighs a sigh of relief and is happy with that. I think she's the only person who's shown him attention since she walked in, so he was right to be worried. And then the boys, the first person safe is Leo. Am I surprised Leo is safe? No, I'm not. Outside of the incident with Jonay, Leo has been on his best behavior, especially after the Anna and Cassie's scenario. He's tried to sort of walk a fine line, and then sadly, when Jonay came, he was tempted and he went all the way. So I'm happy that he stayed because otherwise the villa would have been boring. And then it's announced that Taylor C is going home. Jonay was going to stay in the villa because she was more dramatic and she would have provided more for the producers to work with than Taylor C. So I'm not surprised Taylor C was voted out. And the viewers, I think, didn't get to see as much as Taylor C as possible. This is why she went out. And for Jonah to stand up and say, oh, I am going home as well. None of the islanders were phased. They weren't as shocked as they were when KK stood up to say she was going home. And I think for them, it's just an, okay, see you next time. Because Jonah was playing a part, in my opinion. Jonah was playing a part. He was sort of pandering up until he found Taylor C. He was pandering to everybody else until he found the person he was looking for. So I don't know. I wish them all the best. So then it's announced that Zay is the one who's safe. None of the islanders seemed phased when they heard that Mike was going home. They didn't seem sad, they seemed indifferent. Because when he made the comment to say you're being disrespectful, you could see everybody was trying to tell him to shut up. Everybody on the stage was trying to tell him to shut up. And for Leo to apologize on his behalf says a lot. Shows a level of maturity that Mike didn't have in himself. So I wasn't surprised he went home. He didn't seem as well happy to be going home with Hannah O. I don't think Mike and Keenan planned on finding a partner. And so for them to suddenly have to leave with the girls that they met in the villa and were saying that they had this great connection with is not something they had planned on. And it's something that sort of came as a surprise for them. There was no way for them to back out. So they just decided to go along with it. All the islanders say goodbye. And I'm surprised none of the girls, I think, I don't call Carmen an actress, but her reaction about KK leaving was a bit over the top. Her relationship with KK, I don't think was as close as people like Hannah, Destiny, or even Imani, or even Cassie. So the theatrics that she was putting on, I didn't buy those, the crocodile tears. And you could tell Hannah just shut down. She couldn't believe the fact that KK was giving up her place in the villa for Keenan, given how much Keenan had put her through. Destiny just shut down. She just covered her face, and I think she didn't want to break down on camera. I think this is something she's tried her best not to do on camera, to be filmed crying. I think if she is crying, I don't know where she's crying, maybe in the bathroom or something, but you see her in the background just sitting there covering her face because she was very close to KK, so I don't know how she's going to cope in the villa once KK goes. And Cassie was crying. Cassie was crying because Cassie and KK had become very close since going to Casa more, even though their relationship started off very tumultuous. And so they pack their bags and go. And I don't know. Jonah and Taylor C were saying, "Oh, we're going to Cali and we're going to continue." I do see them having something there. Apparently, their connection is genuine, according to some of the islanders. So maybe that could work. Hannah and Mike and Keenan and KK, it's just a matter of time. We're just counting down to when they break up. It's just a matter of time because I don't think those guys are ready for a committed relationship. I don't think they're ready. I know in the exit they said, "Oh, I can't wait." Keenan was talking about how much he loves KK. He told all the islanders that he's finally realized that he loves KK. And for me, it's like he's just saying that just for them to say, "Oh, good." But I don't think he really does. I don't know. I might be wrong. I might be misjudging him. We'll see what happens. So after the six islanders leave, everybody sort of disperses and goes into their couples. And Berg is speaking to Taylor and is just, saying how relieved he is that she's there. And for him to turn around and be all righteous and say, "Oh, I don't understand why Leo is still here. I trust Keenan." Leo made one mistake. Keenan was a whole lot of mistakes. The fact that Leo slept with Jonay after they both consented is totally different to Keenan, who's tried it with every single girl. He tried it with Cassie, it failed. He tried it with Emily, it failed. He tried it with Amani, it failed. He tried it with Naja and he succeeded. So for him to say, "I don't trust Leo, I trust Keenan more," doesn't make sense. Who's disrespected who more? Yes, Leo had a connection with Anna and he recoupled with Anna, but he never once disrespected Cassie or Anna either way. So for him to turn around and say this doesn't make sense to me because both girls always knew who Leo was with. And for Bergie to suddenly sit there and say, "Oh, I don't understand why he's still here. Why doesn't America see what he did? I don't trust him. I trust Keenan more." Keep your comments to yourself. Otherwise, you're the next one on a flight out of Fiji because you're becoming too pompous and it doesn't suit you. The reason you're there is because people have always felt pity for you. So write that line and you'll be fine until the end. And then you have Hannah and Marco in the bedroom. Hannah and Marco are good at minding their business. They always just stay together. They always do their thing. They don't involve themselves in anybody else's business, which I really am starting to like about them because I like couples who are not as toxic, who are not sort of meddling in other people's business. Unless somebody else approaches them, then that's one thing. But for you to go and look for trouble, like Carmen sort of pulling Leo for chats and chastising him for stuff, I don't like that. So they declare their love for one another, but they decide to keep it a secret, which I thought, oh, okay, do you? And then you have Destiny in soul ties with Zay. And she's telling Zay, because when everybody left, Destiny actually told Zay that this is very draining for me. And he said to her, "Oh, I'll be there for you." And then suddenly they're in soul ties. He's telling her, "I want to explore connections with other people because the only thing I was thinking about was if I went home, I'd regret not getting to know other people." And it's like, did Destiny stop you from getting to know other people? Why are you making it seem like she's told you that you're both closed off? We've never had the closed off conversation between the two of you. So why are you making it seem like you're both closed off, or she's forcing you to close off? This is what you should have done right from the start. As soon as you came back from Casa, you should have told her, "We're both open. It's important that we get to know other people, but no." And it's like, so you waited until Mike had left the villa, then you started moving mad because you knew that if Mike was still in the villa and you started moving mad, Destiny would just turn around and go to Mike. But because you realized that Destiny has no other option but you've decided you want to get to know other people. And of all nights to say that, you know how close Destiny was to Keenan and KK. She's told you she's going to miss them. That was her support system in the villa. So for you to now bring up this conversation doesn't make sense. You should have waited until the next day. Really, if you were someone who's empathetic, you should have consulted just for tonight, and then the next day you'd have had the conversation with her. I don't think it was the right time, and I have to give credit to Destiny. I know I'm called the Destiny Stunner. She was very composed and very calm. She didn't scream. She didn't shout. And so he in his confessional was saying, "Oh, I don't feel heard. I don't feel." And Destiny actually asked him, "Do you feel I've heard what you said?" And he went, "Yes." And yet in the confessional, he's saying something totally different. This is the reason why I didn't like Jonah, because Jonah would say one thing to Destiny's face, and then he'd go behind her back and say something totally different. And Zay is now eating from the same poisonous fruit, and he started sort of saying stupid stuff behind Destiny's back. I don't like that. After he left Soul Ties, you could see that Destiny was actually reflecting. I think she's starting to think that, is this really worth it, or should I just go home, or should I? Because I don't think none of these guys are really there for a serious relationship. I think all of them just went for a great summer and to enjoy themselves. And so the idea of having to commit to someone is not something that they thought about before they came onto the show. And this is why they're moving mad. So Bergie was talking to Taylor and telling her he doesn't know why Leo is still here. The hypocrisy. And then the next minute, they're in the room sitting and talking with Leo. And it's like, make it make sense. It's either you don't want him there or you want to be friends with him. Don't say something behind his back and say something totally different to his face. I don't like that. I don't like that side of Bergie. I hope he really works on that. And all the islanders go to bed. Obviously, Kyle sleeps in soul ties because he and Money are done, and Money tells everybody that they're done. In the morning, everybody's missing KK because she used to wake up and greet everybody as soon as she wakes up, and so everyone is looking forward to seeing what the day has to bring. And so you have Mateo speaking to say, "This is what I don't like. This is what I don't like. I was saying that Zay can stay with Destiny until the end, but I don't like what he's doing. He's doing exactly, I repeat, exactly what Jonah did, because he spoke to Destiny and Destiny asked him, "Do you feel like I've heard what you said?" And he said yes. And yet he's telling Mateo that, "Oh, yesterday I was able to advocate for myself. I feel I need to be allowed to get to know people. It's either her way or the highway." You expressed yourself. You were asked, "Did I hear what you said?" And you said yes. So then make it make sense. How did we go from that to suddenly you saying you advocated for yourself as though you're not allowed to speak? I don't like it, and I don't like the negative edit the producers continue to put on Destiny. I know I'm called the Destiny stan, but I don't like it. If you've watched Love Island UK, it's sort of more or less the same edit that they gave Catherine. They gave Catherine this negative edit that by the time she left the villa, the viewers couldn't stand her. And the same thing is happening with Destiny. And it's like, make it make sense. Make it make sense. Someone can't be horrible all the time, all the time. If you can find cute clips of people like Marco, people like Bergie, people, everyone else in the villa, why can't you find any of Destiny? We have to wait for Unseen Biz to find that. Anyway, you have the girls chatting and Hannah sort of asking Destiny, "So what's going on with Zay? Where do you stand?" Destiny was just like, "Okay, I'm just waiting for him because yesterday he was very emotional, so I'm just waiting for him to hear what he says today after he slept on it." And for me, it's like, please bring in someone for Destiny. If you could bring in someone for Bergie, we deserve someone for Destiny. I don't want her to put up with all this mess. Cassie is saying, she's now focused on Mateo. They had a kiss in bed, and she's really willing to work on that. Meanwhile, Mateo's busy telling Zay that, "Oh, I'm turned off. I'm turned off because she made me a second option." And it's like, please keep quiet. You've been moving from one reality show to another. This is your third show. We understand. So when did you make Cassie a priority? Make it make sense. I think the Casa boys used the girls to bring them to the villa. And once they got to the villa, they started eyeing up the Casa girls. And that's who they're aiming for. And I can't wait for all of them to be voted out because Destiny's karma is real. Harrison treated her some way. The viewers didn't like it. He went home. Mike did the same thing and is on his way home. Jonah was telling lies about her. He's on his way home. Yes, the viewers didn't send him home, but he decided to go home because his girl was going home. Next up is Zay. If he continues the way he's doing, I can foresee him going home. Because I personally believe the only reason why the viewers kept him was because of Destiny. If not for Destiny, he would be on the next flight out of Fiji. Why does it feel like Eddie, Brandon, and maybe Snake Rob were the better of the Casa boys? Seriously. Because you now have Mattia pulling Jonay for a chat and he tells her that, "I want to get to know you, but I want to break things off with Cassie and I want to let Leo know." And it's like, you guys were never interested in these girls that brought you from Casa. You liked the idea that they were going to bring you back, and you pandered until you convinced them to bring you back from Casa. And once you got back to the villa, you realized that there were better opportunities. I think all these boys that are in Love Island this year only came to Love Island for a great time and not for a serious relationship. Because I don't get how Mateo can leave Cassie and say he wants to pursue Jonay. Jonay, who slept with Leo in the villa in a room with 12 other people. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. That does not make any sense to me. That doesn't make sense. Seriously. If he's saying I'm 29 years old, I'm looking for something permanent, all he's doing is he's looking for someone who is willing to give him what he wants them to give him. I think the night before, Casa said they did kiss, but they didn't go all the way. And I think because she didn't go all the way with him, he's decided to move on to someone who's a sure thing, someone who's going to give him what he wants. And that's the impression that I got. Jonay immediately ran to tell Cassie that this is what Mateo is trying to do. And I don't think she did it just because she was looking out for Cassie. I think she did it just to be spiteful. I think her intention was when Cassie came back from Casa, she was expecting a lot of drama, and when that didn't happen, she's decided to look for drama any way possible. Because why does she keep going after Cassie's seconds, in Destiny's words? Why does she keep going after Cassie's seconds? She went after Leo, now she's going after Mateo. Make it make sense. I feel like all these Casa boys want Jonay, and they're going to fight over Jonay until one of them wins. I might be wrong, but that's the impression that I get. And then you have Destiny sit down with Zay to sort of find out where he stands and what's the way forward. And Zay's starting to tell her that he wants to be open. It's like, oh, make it make sense. So none of you were really interested in these girls. None of you. And so the text message comes in just at that point in time, and I'm like, oh, thank God. Destiny doesn't need this hassle. I hope he doesn't embarrass her by sort of asking to kiss somebody else in the challenge. I hope he doesn't do that. But we'll see what happens. So the boys go and play football, and it's giving childish behavior, it's giving immaturity, it's giving petty, messy, everything. It's giving. It's terrible. The Casa boys are seeking attention, and sadly, I hope they've just signed themselves into the bottom three, and they've just allowed Kenzo, Marco, and Leo, and probably Bergie to step into the top three or top four couples for the finale by how they've moved in this challenge, in my opinion. Because I think because Mateo told Zay that he really was feeling some type of way about Jonay and he really wanted to pursue her. I think this is why Zay decided to go and pick Cassie. I think the other reason he picked Cassie was because he knew that she was close friends with Destiny, and so Destiny wouldn't really be that offended. I don't think he wanted to kiss Imani, or he wanted to kiss Hannah because he knew they would say no. So I think he realized that he couldn't kiss Jonay. I think his option, if given, was going to be Jonay. And then you have Mateo and Kyle both kissing Jonay. I don't think they like Jonay because Jonay is, this high moral person. She's caring, she's loving, she's empathetic. She could be all those things, but I think they like the fact that there is a possibility that they could get some on TV. If she could give some to Leo, then she's definitely going to give some to them, because I don't understand the fascination with Jonay, and I don't understand why they're both decided to pursue Jonay. I like the fact that Destiny and Amani just stood there. Although Amani was making faces and she was calling out Kyle, because it was really silly, because he pretended to go and pick Amani, and Amani covered her face, and then he turned and he went for Jonay, who in my opinion is the person he really wanted to go for. And all the guys were shocked. The original guys were shocked. They were just staring at them. They couldn't believe their eyes, that how could you be so stupid? How could you be so foolish? It doesn't make any sense why they would want to do that, why they would want to humiliate the girls. And for Zay to shout out, I chose myself, I'm done with being a good guy. And it's like, what have you done to show that you're a good guy? Please sit down. Please sit down. You've taken off your mask. You've given up on playing this character that you're playing for Destiny now that you know Mike is gone. So please sit down. I really am not buying it. Anyway, at the end of the day, Bergie won the challenge, and it was cute. It was nice. I think they decided to give it to Bergie because they just thought, what's the point of rewarding stupid behavior? And so they gave it to Bergie, which was good. When the islanders return from their challenge, you have Mateo pull Leo for a chat. And then Jonay immediately tells the girls that, do you know why Mateo has pulled Leo? And everyone is like, why? And she goes, oh, he was saying that he's going to speak to Leo and tell Leo that he's taking a step back because he wants to explore a connection with me. And then Carmen was one of the ones that were very vocal, because she said, you need to go and tell them that you're not a commodity that they can pass from one person to another. You have the right to make a decision for yourself. So you get to choose who you want to couple up with. They don't pass you around like you're good, and they can do with you as they please. So Cassie immediately went and started to ask the boys that, what's going on? Tell me. That's when Mateo pulled her aside. Oh, I've decided, to take a step back, and I want to try and explore with other people. And she was right to question him, to say, yesterday we made out in bed. When did you make this decision? Why didn't you tell me before we made out in bed? That way I wouldn't have gone through all this. It's a good thing. She was telling people it's a good thing I didn't play with his pee. Otherwise I would now be very embarrassed after doing all that, and he dumps me like this. And I didn't get it. Cassie was right to say it's giving immaturity, and it definitely is giving immaturity. He's always bragging about being a 29-year-old. That is not what a 29-year-old does. Anyway, then Leo has a conversation with Kenzo, Marco, and Hannah, and sort of says he wants to plan this grand gesture for Cassie, because he's trying to win Cassie back, and so he's trying to do anything and everything to really graft and win her attention. So they come up with a dinner, and of her favorite foods. They come up with cocktails and stuff, and the other three are going to be the servers, and he's going to write a poem for Cassie to sort of describe how he feels and hopes that will help win her back. And it's like, oh, that's sweet. At least he's putting in the effort. You can't knock him for that. One thing about Cassie and Leo, I have to give them credit because they've handled their situation in a mature way. Unlike Keenan and KK, I don't even know what they were doing. Anyway, the producers are saboteurs because they then send a text message to Cassie once everybody's got ready to say she needs to go on a date with Scott, and everybody else is, Leo's running around, he's arranging the stuff, he's arranging the picnic, everything, and Cassie's on a date with Scott. How do I feel about Scott appearing on Love Island USA? Say good for him. The more exposure for him, the better. I know people are dragging him for going on Love Island USA, but I don't feel people should be dragging him. They should drag the producers because the producers and the casting agents are the ones that put him on the show. He didn't tell them, okay, now put me on USA Love Island. There's a reason why they put him on Love Island USA, and people have shown him because the more people vent about him and talk about him online, the more traffic the show gets. This is the same thing I was saying about Destiny. So the producers are going to continue to put him there, and they're going to try and put him in situations whereby they know people are going to be annoyed and people are going to talk about it a lot. And so I don't know. I really loved his date with Cassie. I thought it was sweet. I thought they seemed to have great banter, but I don't think she's it for him. Cassie seemed smitten. She was blushing. She was all this, that, and the other because she recognized him from Love Island UK season 10. So she knew who he was. She was smiling. She was giggling. But I don't know. I know he's got a date on Sunday with Amani. I can't wait for that. I think he'll make a better pairing with Amani. I think so. I think he would have made a better pairing with Destiny as well because he says he likes a girl who can give him back. He just doesn't want someone who's boring. He's very quiet, so he wants someone who's out there, who's able to sort of bring him out of his shell. So I can see either Destiny or Amani being good for him. And poor Leo then discovers that, Cassie's not there. She's disappeared. The producers have taken her, and nobody knows where she's gone to. And it's like, why would you do that? Why would you have to sabotage him? He's really trying his best. Allow him to win his girl back. And it turns out Destiny is in the hideaway. They say she's not feeling well. I don't know what's wrong with her. I don't know whether they're isolating her, whether she's got COVID or what's going on. I hope she feels better soon. But anyway, it was a great episode. Thanks, guys, for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye, everyone.